this is the bar I have for enemies to lovers. Like, don't call it enemies to lovers unless one of you kept your living head in prison for 50 years.
And then the other one, you retaliate by killing the other one.
Yes, that's enemies to lovers. Not whatever it is with the two people who don't like each other mildly in their same workplace.
Hello, welcome to Bite Me Fanboy, a comics podcast. I'm Kate.
I'm Tom.
I'm Jordan.
And I'm Kirsten.
And today we will be talking about the manga Undead Unluck, written and illustrated by Yoshifumi Tozuka. For the summary today, I'm going to be throwing it over to Kirsten. So Kirsten, take it away.
So Undead Unluck follows the story of Fuko Izumo. And she is an 18-year-old girl who has the unfortunate ability that whenever anybody touches her, something unlucky happens to them. And so it starts out that she has finished the last manga in her series, her long series of manga, and she's like, cool, I can now kill myself. I will now be offing myself by jumping in front of a train, which happens a lot in Japan, apparently. People just jumping in front of trains. But yeah, so she's about to kill herself. But she took a long time, right? She's like standing there moping with the manga in her hand, and people have stopped behind her and are like, oh my god, this girl's about to kill herself. You need to stop her. And so she starts by saying like, no, don't touch me. You'll get like the plague or smallpox or whatever. And then you see this guy walk over and he's like, that sounds pretty fucking awesome. And he walks up to her because she's holding a knife out to like deter people from stopping her. And he just like self-stabs himself. And he's like, it sounds pretty fucking awesome to get a disease and die. I'm all about that life. How does this work? And so she freaks out and she ends up accidentally touching him. And she's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. You're about to get hit with my unluck. And he's like, what? And then the ground crumbles beneath him. He falls, and I think he gets hit by a train.
He gets hit by several things, I want at that
okay.
point in the story.
It's quite a few things. So, and he, this guy she calls him a zombie, basically. He's not, brain-eating zombie. He's, I can continually regenerate my body zombie. But he just pops back up, all mangled and crap, and she's freaking out because, this guy's now just weird-looking flesh. And he slowly regenerates, and she's like, I'm gonna leave now. So she runs away. And he's like, no, we need to figure this out. I'm gonna chase you down. So that's how Fuko meets Andy. And Andy is the undead part of Undead Unluck. And then they have a really cute moment. Andy's trying to figure out okay, how does this work? Do I have to hold you for a long time? How can we make this more epic? And she's like, I'm not going to tell you. We're not doing this. And he's like, maybe we've got to do more stuff. So he gets a little molesty in the beginning. A touch.
A touch?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just a smidge.
Kate. I see what you did there.
Oh, I hear it now.
I mean, yeah, no, he's a touch molesty, and it really rubbed me the wrong way.
No. You just had to keep going with it.
Listen, it's uncomfortable. You got to do something, otherwise you're just going to be
So Andy feels bad. He's like, hey, we'll be cool about this. He gives her a haircut. He then gets the ceiling dropped on him. And then all of a sudden, these random dudes with katanas and guns show up. And they're like, hey, we are part of a secret organization, and we've decided that you should die because you're not safe for human consumption. And so, they run away. They're trying to not. Well, Andy's like, I just don't want this girl to die because, I think she can eventually kill me. But they run away. They try to get free of them. They eventually, kind of capture Andy and Fuko. And then Fuko's like, you know what? We're just gonna do it. I'm just gonna give you the most unluck I can give you. And so she gives him a kiss, which is her first kiss. And then a meteorite just falls from the sky onto this building and squishes the people. And that's how we meet the Union, which is an important group in this story. It starts out by Fuko and Andy murdering their members. Which, by the way, trigger warning, there's a lot of dismembering. So much in this manga. So, just everybody know that. So, they run away. And then more Union members come after them. And that is when Andy and Fuko realize that via Shen, who is a Union member who talks way too much and is too nice.
Shen's the best. You got a Sun Wukong character, always.
But through him spilling the beans, they realize that, there are only 10 members of the Union, and if you kill a member, you can then take their spot. And so Andy's like, hell yeah, let's join them, and we'll just kill a couple of these guys. And he's like, we're gonna need 2 spots. So unfortunately, you two who have shown up, we're gonna have to murder you. They succeed in murdering one guy. And he was kind of a jerk to begin with, so he wasn't very nice to Shen. And then they try to mess with Shen, but he's a martial arts master and outmaneuvers them. And he's like, if you really want to join the Union, the other way you can get a spot is by killing another one of our members. I can tell you where they're at. They're over in Russia. I don't remember. Do they bring up Umas?
Yes, the UMA. An unexplained magical, what is it? Artifact?
Animal?
It's yeah.
It's unidentified mysterious animals. And it's got the pronunciation of Yuma. So Shen is like, hey, you gotta go track down our buddy. Our buddy's currently trying to capture this or Yuma in Russia. And Shen disappears into the night with their Yuma buddy who takes them back to the Union. And so Andy is like, hell yeah, let's go to Russia. By the way, we should take my fancy boat and let's go to my armory, because as you slowly find out, Andy has been alive a long time. Andy doesn't remember it, but he's been alive a long time.
He's got a thing stuck in his head that keeps him from remembering anything, and when he needs to figure out if he can regain a talent, he bonks himself where that little piece of shrapnel is sticking out of his head, which I love.
Yeah. So they go to Russia, and Andy's like, hell yeah, Fuko, I'm gonna leave you here at Lake Baikal, which is my favorite lake for people who like Spooky Lake Month. So they go to Lake Baikal, and Andy's like, cool, I'm off. I'm gonna go find some of my war buddies. I'm sure they're in Russia somewhere. I'll make a reservation at the restaurant. We'll go meet up with them later after we kill this dude. And Andy just runs off, leaving Fuko in a completely different country where she meets a random, what my boss Lauren would consider a cute anime girl with the sharp pointy teeth, which are apparently the cutest of the anime girls. She also has pink hair. So
all the check boxes have been checked.
And she is just painting something. She sees Fuko. She's like, oh my god, are you Japanese? I am a giant weeb. And she's like, look at my schoolgirl uniform. Look how cute I am. Did you go to school? And she's like, no, I never got to go to school because I was murdering people. And she's like, that's okay. Look how cute I am. And they become friends, and they paint things by Lake Baikal until it's time to go murder this person. And I think a really the first thing that really interesting thing that happens in this story is that they draw the night sky, and Gina, the pink-haired girl, draws the night sky as she sees it. And then Fuko is like, hey, I thought the sky looked lonely, so I added in all these details, and I think it might be too much. And Gina walks over and she's like, there's all these lights in the sky. It'd be really nice, like, if our sky actually had lights. And that's when you realize, like, they don't have stars in this world. It's just something that doesn't exist. And I think that's, like, at the point where this story, like, really got me, was just like, stars aren't a thing here. And then you find out later, there's just random things that people take for granted, like in our world, that just doesn't exist in their world until something happens. So Gina, of course, ends up being the person that they have to murder. By the way, Gina, the cute anime girl, spoiler, is actually 66 years old and has like a huge crush on Andy because she's the one who caught him 50 years ago.
She just takes care of herself and does that much makeup. Her get ready with me involves shape-shifting.
Her power is called Unchange. And so she, as Andy so lovingly explains, she is an external targeting type, so she can't affect herself, and so she wears a crap ton of makeup, but she can affect other things, and she likes things not to change. But they eventually end up killing her. But what I think is really cute is her powers start dissipating, and she's like, Andy, don't look at me. I'm ugly. I'm old. I have all these wrinkles. And he's like, you're being an idiot, Gina. You're still beautiful. And I'm like, oh my god, that is so cute. So maybe
it's a shame she dies.
Yeah, it's a shame he murdered her, but, you know, it was still cute.
After she kept his head in a jar for how many years?
I was going to say, Kirsten, we might need to have a conversation about the bare minimum.
Look, she kept his head in a jar until they could get him into a jar-like room where he couldn't escape. And then he could have his whole body back. So, you know.
No, but I mean more of like she's literally dying because they killed her, and he's like, oh no, you look so pretty.
I just thought it was really sweet.
Okay.
That he was like, you still look beautiful even with all your wrinkles.
Yeah, it's just the Stockholm Syndrome kicking in.
Whatever, guys, okay?
I just love that on every level, this whole relationship gets complicated and bad at the same time. Because, like, yeah, she kept him in prison for 50 years. On the other hand, he just killed her. On the other hand, it just keeps going. Like, I'm just like, this is... When people talk about, like... hero villain enemies to lovers, like, this is the bar I have for enemies to lovers. Like, don't call it enemies to lovers unless one of you kept your living head in prison for 50 years
and then
the other one
you retaliate by killing the other one.
Yes, that's enemies to lovers. Not whatever it is with the two people who don't like each other mildly in their same workplace.
I support that. So after they kill Gina, they get taken into the sky by the Uma Travel, and they get dragged to the Union, where they get dropped in this King Arthur-style round table, and that's where they meet the rest of the members of the Union. Andy immediately tries to kill them, but they're fine. Like, they stop it. Other people tried to kill Andy. It's a whole thing. But that's when they get to learn that in this world, they are fulfilling quests that are given out by a sentient book called Apocalypse.
He's definitely a good guy.
Who's definitely one of my favorites. And
He's just a little guy.
He's just a little guy with some sharp teeth. And so they get these quests every so often, and with the quest, it's normally... you have to go capture or destroy this Yuma. And in exchange, you'll get the location of another negator. Oh, by the way, they are negators. I don't think I explained this.
They're called negators because their power, each one has a power that negates something,
right.
As opposed to the people who have powers to go between buildings in alleys. Those are called alligators.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So Andy is undead, so he negates death. Fuko is unluck, so she negates luck. There's like Unjustice, who negates justice. It's such a weird one.
It's like if you think you're doing the right thing and acting in accordance with your idea for justice, she can mess with your, like, basically make you have bad judgment, but you have to be thinking about doing the right thing. It's weird.
So They can also get artifacts, which are, just tools that can help them in their journey, or they can get the location of another Uma, which is normally a giant monster-looking thing that's causing chaos. In that one, they learn about the...
I was just going to say, the best way to describe it is that the negators are people who can break a law of reality. They can negate something. On the other hand, the UMAs are things that are based around a rule of reality. Like, if, for instance, like, there would be a UMA whose thing was involving gravity and making things weigh stuff and all that. But a negator would be someone who had the power to float because they could negate gravity. And they would probably have some name like Unheavy because all the negators have that sort of thing. But, so... yeah, when they deal with a UMA, it is something that involves a law of reality, and they're significantly more powerful than like one person who can negate something on either themselves or others.
Yes. So they go around. A lot of it involves them defeating UMAs. Sometimes they don't fulfill the quest, and so bad things happen. Like, one of the first things that happens is that Uma Galaxy gets released, and that's where the stars and other planets and other like alien species just suddenly form. The aliens don't, like, they believe they've been there the whole time, and they believe like their purpose is to destroy the humans, and everybody else, all the non-negators, believe that there has always been stars and always been planets, and only the negators realize this hasn't happened before. We don't know anything about this. Like, there's another event that happens where they fulfilled a quest, and so one of the things that they get is a unifying of all languages, and so all the non-negators all of a sudden speak English, and the negators, like, if they don't have a special translating device, they all speak their normal languages, and so people are able to find the negators that way because they're the ones who are like, why isn't anybody speaking Japanese or Spanish or whatever?
Yeah, the UMAs, when a new one it gets created, it creates a new rule for the galaxy, or for this universe. And when Galaxy gets created, not only are there stars, but because of this, they now have, like, instead of just their regular lunar calendar, they now have days of the week. It's like before Galaxy appears, there's a point where someone asks, what day of the week is it? And no one knows what he means when he says that. And that's a hint of something bigger going on later. But, like, days of the week didn't exist until suddenly they've always been around just as soon as the UMA gets created. So each UMA is like a new rule added to reality, but when they get the rewards, they're getting it's like undoing a rule of reality, which is like the language thing. They unbabbled themselves.
Yeah, they're fighting this Uma called Spoil, and Spoil is basically turning everybody into real zombies. Like
he causes decay.
Yeah, it causes decay. So they like are having trouble talking, and they look like they'd eat your brains. And so Andy goes to fight Spoil. He also, like, dragged Shen along, and then, of course, Fuko's going. And so Andy's able to fight Spoil because, he can regenerate, but, like, kind of in a weird way. Andy also gets married at this point, and, like, I should have explained this earlier, but, like, the way Andy has decided that he's going to get the ultimate death from Fuko's Unluck is that he has to make her not only fall in love with him, but then they have to, like, do the deed. And that's the goal of this series, which is weird.
He's seen too many slasher movies. He thinks that if you have sex, you die.
He just wants the ultimate death. That's the whole goal of the manga. But even though he's, like, told Fuko, like, my goal in life is to make you fall in love with me, and then we, like, go out with a bang, literally. He turns around and he's like, hey, I can now understand these zombies because I'm turning into half a zombie myself, and there's this helpful zombie over here, but she wants to make a deal where we have to get married in order for her to help us. Fuko, you cool with that? And Fuko's like, sure, I don't know you. Like, we've only been friends for a week. Like, do whatever you want. So Andy
I'm just thinking of Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
I gotta get married to get out of this.
So He gets married to the zombie. The zombie actually sacrifices herself in order to, like, defeat Spoil. So he wasn't married long. It was definitely, like, a quick till death do us part type of thing. But in order to defeat Spoil, because they tried... So Shen has a stick, a staff.
Shen has... Okay, I gotta say this. Shen has a cloud that he rides around on.
A la Dragon Ball Z style.
Okay, it's not Dragon Ball Z style. Shen has... We'll get Dragon Ball in a second, but Shen has a cloud to run around on and a staff that extends. Now, Shen's like, oh yeah, these are just like weird artifacts that we found. And Shen is sitting there as a Chinese person with these things. And at a certain point, Andy is like, hey, if you have those things, does that mean... And Shen just says yes. So the implication is that Shen is Sun Wukong, the Monkey King reborn. And that Sun Wukong from Journey to the West, the character from classic literature, is a real person in this world, and he was someone who was a negator, which is fascinating to me, and I had to mention that because Sun Wukong is one of my favorite characters in literature. So Shen is literally just like implied to be... It's like someone secretly being implied to be Sherlock Holmes. It's great. I love it.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that. It's a cool
fact. They don't make a deal out of it because... So, you mentioned Dragon Ball. Sun Wukong is a huge influence on Dragon Ball, like, and Journey to the West as a larger work. So, like, if they said it too much, it would kind of be a little, like, okay. Because, like, another name for Sun Wukong is Sun Goku. So, you know.
Oh. Okay. So, they get the bright idea that how you spoil is, like... Or how things spoil is because of bacteria. Bacteria, most of them need oxygen. And so they're like, cool, could you just throw us into space? Because that's a thing. And so Shen whips out his staff, which starts out small, and then it just like grows and throws not only this giant monster Spoil, but also Andy up into space. Now, Andy cannot die, so he is fine. But also, Andy loses the little metal piece in his head. And then all of a sudden, like, he goes from white hair to black hair. He goes from, like, happy Andy to, like, this very grumpy dude. And
he goes Super Saiyan.
Yeah,
basically.
Now that's where Dragon Ball comes in, because he looks like Goku.
Yeah.
Now he looks like Goku. So we have, like, the character who inspired Goku, and then a character who turns into Goku.
Also hadn't thought about that. That's a good point. So, they're up in space. I think it's interesting that, like, just from a science perspective, that Andy, who is now Victor, is talking in space. And it's like, don't you need air to pass through your vocal cords in order to make sound? But whatever, this is manga.
I think they're low Earth orbit. It's like low Earth orbit. They're not, like, at the moon.
Right, but you still can't, you can't talk or do any of that in low Earth orbit.
You can still have, like, upper atmosphere, there is still air. It's just, like, a lot less of it. Yeah, okay, now, you're right. I guess I'm thinking about it. But also, this is before Galaxy happens, so we don't know what space is in this universe.
Yeah, that's true.
Because space does not exist until after this scene, because that's when the UMA Galaxy gets released after this whole story part, so... Space technically doesn't exist at this point, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now that I think about it, it's just like, wait a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so Victor he doesn't destroy Spoil, but so each of the Yumas have like a core, which is like just a little guy version of themselves. It's just like they're like a head, but smaller. And so Victor destroys Spoil and like kicks the head over to Shen and is like, here you go, man. But then Shen, who's like one of these crazy dudes who are like, I must fight everything, is like, oh my god, this is my idol. I've always wanted to fight this guy. This is going to be great. Because Shen knows the history of Victor, which we don't know. We don't find out later. And so they just start fighting. And like, Victor almost like kills Shen. He almost kills Shen. And then he sees Fuko, and Fuko's trying to get Andy back because they're in the same, like, they're sharing a body. So she's like, Andy has to be in there. And so for some reason, her unluck doesn't work on Victor. But she's like, if I can recall Andy back enough, then I can, like, touch him, which is weird. and cause unluck that way. So she like
Her unluck is specifically tangentially related to how much she cares about a given person.
there we
So
go.
if it's someone she doesn't care about, the unluck isn't going to happen. So basically, she can't brush up against a random person and cause them to die. But if she cares about them, which is why her parents died, is that if she brushed up against, like, her parents kissed her on the head, which is a physical contact with someone she really cares about, and that's why that happens. So the thing is that Victor is immune to her unluck because she has no relationship with Victor. And
Also,
so
she kind of hates him.
yeah, and so she finds like a wound in Victor and literally tries to reach in because he has a scar where the piece of shrapnel went in. And she tries to get into that scar so she can touch his brain because that's where Andy is. You know, the science checks out, obviously.
Just a light little poke to the brain. It makes total sense. But she does, and she pokes Andy somewhere in his brain, and that causes another meteor? Something falls from the sky, and, like, it doesn't, like, take out Victor, but it, like, suppresses him enough that Andy can then take back over, and then she's able to, like, shove the shrapnel back in his brain and suppress Victor. So that's how we meet Victor. We know nothing else about him at this point. He just showed up and kicked ass and then went away.
Refuses to elaborate, leaves.
Right. So they finish up all those quests. Galaxy happens, the unification of languages happen, and then they get another set of quests.
They get another set of quests, but they also talk about what the nature of failure means, because when they found Apocalypse the book, where he started giving them missions, they found a tablet, and every time someone fails, there's a new rule added to the universe, including stuff like death. It's very like Guardian of Eden versus After the Fall. Like everyone is aging, that sort of thing, and that all that sort of stuff. Those rules keep getting added every time they fail, and I think it's that every time they fail, a new dot appears on this thing, and it's got space for 101. And a lot of people are like, okay, so if like we fill this whole thing up with 101 dots, then we're dead. You know, we're doomed. And this is the 99th time someone didn't follow the rules or complete all the missions. So that's the 99th failure out of 101.
And this is when they mention that, like, their overarching goal is that they want to kill God.
Yeah.
The creator God who is behind all of these new rules being added to the universe. Like, it is whatever entity keeps doing this and talking through the book at them and saying, do this, or I'll add a new rule to the universe and make your lives worse.
Which is where I got on board.
Oh. So then they get a new set of quests. There's also, like, did they get it? So they got an 11th seat. And
Yes.
that's why they wanted to go find Unrepair.
Yes.
Did that happen before the second set of quests?
That was before. The second set of quests is where they go looking. They wanted that 11th seat, and also if they defeated the Rot, or the zombie guy.
Spoil.
Defeating the zombie. Oh, yeah. Defeating Spoil allows them to find the location of, I think it's Unrepair, who could kill them. And so they were doing that, but another mission that was being fulfilled by the organization at the same time is what gave them the 11th seat on the team.
Okay. So they decide to go seek out Unrepair, who Apocalypse has mentioned is in Brazil. And it turns out there's like a mafia style underground black market happening, and apparently like a lot of negators are getting captured and sold at this place. And so they initially go there thinking that maybe Unrepair is like one of these people that have been captured. That is not the case. So they dress up, they go to their thing, and it turns out that Unrepair, his power is that he can, so once you have an injury, he makes it so like it can never be fixed until he dies. So you just constantly bleed out until you're dead. And Unrepair is there because he wanted to look for some artifacts and look for other negators that he could use to join his team called Under. And their goal isn't to kill God, it's to basically take over the earth with their negator powers. So they've got completely different goals. But while they're there, you meet Chikara. He is also a negator from Japan, and he got caught because the unification of languages happened, and he was still speaking Japanese when everybody was speaking English. So he got caught and was sold on the black market, and he's trying to escape. And his power is unmove. And so if he looks at you, you cannot move. But the problem is, in the beginning, he also can't move. Because if he moves, then you're unfrozen. And he's kind of a chicken. So this doesn't work out well for him. And so Andy and Fuko, as well as Tatiana, who is...
Another one of the Union.
Yeah, she's another negator. She is untouchable, I believe. I'm looking it up. Untouchable. Mm-hmm. So nothing can touch her. So she constantly has a force field around her. And so she is contained in this like black sphere with like these cute arms that come off of it.
She's fantastic.
She's just like floating in there. But you see, like, Tatiana originally hated Andy and Fuko because she loved Gina, and then they murdered Gina, and she was like, you guys suck. Gina loved Andy. They were going to get married, and, like, now you've murdered her. You guys are the worst. And then Fuko befriends her over time. And you get to learn Tatiana's very sad backstory. And you learn that she also was a victim at one of these black markets. So the three of them go, they meet up, and they find Unrepair is trying to take Chikara, Unmoved, the guy who's scared of everything. And Unrepair wants to recruit him to his side. And Unrepair's name is Rip. And so when he realizes, like, Chikara is not going to be that great in his current state because he's a chicken, he's like, well, I'm just going to kill you. And that's where Andy and Fuko step in because they're like, no, you're not murdering people. And so they have a whole showdown. Andy's able to regenerate even though Rip is trying to like prevent him from, is trying to make him bleed out. But then eventually they try to like just murder Chikara, and Fuko jumps in the way and gets stabbed, and now she's bleeding out, and she's got like an hour to live before everything goes to crap. And so they have an epic showdown where they have to go and kill Rip so that Fuko doesn't die, and Tatiana releases, so like I said, she's contained in a sphere because nothing can touch her, and so that containment makes the barrier that she has around her so concentrated that when the sphere is released, it's kind of like an explosion. And so Tatiana like explodes the ship and shoots everybody up in the air, and now they're having like an epic battle in the air, defying gravity. And I think he kills Rip then. It's something different happened in the anime, but I think
basically Rip has a power that involves, like, his power to stop you from bleeding or stop you from healing is based on if you're acting in your own self-preservation. And so they contrive a scenario where no one is acting in their own self-preservation but in somebody else's, so he can't hurt anybody, and then they shoot him in the heart.
Yeah, because all the negators, their powers rely on like a special activation technique. So something has to happen in order to make it like more effective or to make it happen. So like in the case of Fuko, she's got to like have to care about somebody in order for it to like really work. And so that's Rip's activation that is necessary to make his power work. But he dies. I don't know what I'm saying. He dies. And then somehow he gets reborn into a little kid body.
They reincarnate. They reincarnate when they die. All of these people with the powers, they do not stay dead. They are constantly returning in some sort of weird cycle, which is definitely not something that's going to come up later as a plot point. But they're constantly. That's why he tried to kill the unmoving guy, because he's like, yeah, next time you get incarnated, maybe you're someone who will work with me. So he basically shot him to respin the roulette wheel, or wanted to shoot him to respin the roulette wheel.
Yeah, he was basically like, maybe if I shoot you, you'll just get good.
Yeah, and did they ever make it clear if you would reincarnate in the same body or a different body? Because I know Rip becoming like a teenager again was because of an artifact that one of his team members used on him, which comes up later.
It's got to be different body because of the Shen incident
Yeah.
later on, because his power doesn't get reincarnated. It gets passed to somebody else.
So I think the reversion for Rip in this instance was because one of his his team members used an artifact on him.
Yeah. So that all happens. Everybody's happy. Chikara is a high school student, and so Andy and Fuko bring him back to Tokyo, and they're like, hey, we have this 11th seat open up if you would like to help us, kill God and like make our lives a little better so other people don't have to suffer like this. We would greatly appreciate it. And they're like, but we'll let you think about it and then you can give us your answer. But this really cute moment happens where Fuko has never gone to high school. She's only read about it in manga. And so while they're talking to Chikara outside of his high school, Fuko's like freaking out because she's on the campus of the high school. And Andy's about to be like, hey, let's go. And then he sees her like freaking out and he's like, hey, is anybody in your school right now? And so they sneak into the school so like Fuko can have like a cosplay moment as a high school girl. It was really cute. Again, it's probably the bare minimum, but it's really cute.
Do we want to just go through the seasons? Just like a brief overview.
Yeah, I would say,
Okay.
Like, if we can briefly go over what the seasons are, because the upshot of all of this is, while they bring in the 11th person and they're like, oh, we can only mess up like one more time, the realization that this whole thing is a cycle, and it's not 99 times people fail the challenges, it's 99 times the world has ended. And the leader of this organization, whose name I can't pronounce correctly,
Jus d'Arc? Because she's
yeah,
French,
Jus,
right? So it's
okay, yeah, Jus. Okay, so
I think
yeah.
so. Because she's supposed to be like Joan of Arc.
Okay, so Jus, who is the leader of the Union, is kind of cutthroat and everything because Jus has been through those 99 cycles, along with her then boyfriend, who you realize her ex-boyfriend was Victor, who is, Andy's old personality. And every time they do it, they're worried that like at 101 they're not going to be able to make it through and have it work. So they're trying to figure out what to do, and they think, hey, this person who has the power to do unluck might actually be able to stop this guy. Because what it is that at the end of each cycle, it's a loop. At the end of each loop, and they're getting close to that end, the god entity behind this universe destroys everything and then makes a new Earth and everything starts over. That's also why a world without a galaxy and without space has all these rocks that can keep falling down. That is because that's leftover parts of the Earth from the previous incarnation. Literally, they've been going through, like, this is the 99th Earth, and at 101, I think it's like the slate gets wiped clean and nobody gets out.
See, I didn't think there was an ultimate end. I thought it was just, and it's actually two gods who are just playing this game with each other to see if the humans can eventually win.
Yeah.
But it's
It's their
only one
Dungeons and
person.
Dragons game.
Only one person remembers so only one person can go through the loop, and it's whoever has the most points of the 10 at the table. This is the first loop where they've added an 11th, because you find out once they get to 101 is what initiates Ragnarok, which is the end of the earth. And that person has to sit at that table watching their friends die, trying to protect them for however many minutes there are seats at the table. And so she has had to watch her friends die protecting her, and then have to relive through the years building up a team again, either the same team or a different team, to try to defeat God. And then Victor has he has to live through, I think it's like 4 billion and change years, because he survives even after the earth is destroyed, so he has to wait until the earth is recreated again as well. So
he's from before death was a rule, and it's very and I know this is a Japanese manga, but it's very Cain, the guy who is cursed as the first murderer, that if you any punishment on him will like rebound and be horrible because he's stuck having to walk the earth for eternity. And that's kind of the whole deal with Andy and Victor, is that they're this person who is stuck living through every loop one way or the other.
And how Andy got created was Victor finally looked at his then girlfriend and went, I can't make her do this again. And decides that the best alternative is just to kill her. So
see, when we talk about the bare minimum, this is what we're comparing it to. This is the bad boyfriend. This is how low the bar is. The low bar is that this guy, you don't try to kill your girlfriend.
No, because she's gonna use one of her own artifacts to break off your personality, so you don't remember that you were trying to kill her.
Hey, if that keeps her safe, like some people carry mace.
She's got a memory card.
It's literally a memory card. It looks like the shrapnel looks like a little playing card stuck in his head, and it messes with his memory. I didn't get it until now. It's a memory card.
Yeah. So that's how Andy gets created. Is Victor tries to kill so she is Injustice. And I love how you were introduced to her power, because so the punishment for messing up, it was either, I think it was 100, or was it 99?
It was 99. It was Galaxy.
99.
Galaxy is 99.
So when the galaxy is created, also sentient aliens are created who have better technology than we have on Earth, and they decide that they're going to invade Earth and destroy everyone. And so she goes out by herself to meet them, as the main general is explaining to her his plan to destroy the world. And she looks at him and goes, okay, so that's your idea of justice. And her power takes effect and all of his ships blow up. His entire army is decimated and he's just sitting there.
They all shoot each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're carrying out what you think is justice, she can invert it. And so as a result, all of his aliens shot themselves instead of other people.
Mm-hmm. And then she's like, so you're going to leave and not come back. And
on what
she's
ship?
Great.
What ship's left?
You can walk, bitch.
Yeah. She's great. She's my favorite.
Do we want to talk about Billy?
Yeah, he's
I was going to ask Kate if she wanted to talk about Billy.
I can fix him.
Well,
Billy...
is he technically broken?
Oh.
Because he had the same idea that Injustice had, because he's like, well, I'm tired of seeing my friends suffer. I'm going to do it all by myself.
Yeah.
He did a Victor and tried to attack everybody else in the group so he could be the guy who fights the god entities by himself.
I would follow him.
See, this is why the bar is so low.
I mean, it's true.
Okay, to Kate's point, he made a point never to mess with Tatiana. So he tried to make her hate him, but he never attacked her. He
only emotionally abused her.
How did he
wanted to
emotionally
make her hate him?
Well, because he's trying to make
left.
everybody hate him.
Yes, well, there is an explanation as to why he's doing that, and that's he has the power to recreate and absorb the powers of anyone who thinks of him as an enemy.
Right.
And so he is deliberately trying to make enemies out of everybody in the Union, so that way, because they all think of themselves as his enemy, he would be able to use all of their powers to fight the god entities, and they wouldn't have to go into the fight. So he's actually much nicer. I'm just making jokes. Because.
And so he's the one who rescued Tatiana when she was being sold. So that's their relationship.
Yes. I love him.
If you asked me to explain his powers, I would have to say, I'm so sorry. Because they give you one explanation, and then they give you a different explanation, and then they give you a different explanation. So, I don't even know what his powers are. I think I know that's the final power, but, the other power explanations they give you are actually him masquerading as having that as his power, but it's him mimicking an enemy's power. So, I think it's mimicking enemies' powers.
Okay, because I just remember the whole, if somebody views me as a threat, then I can copy their powers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he's introduced as if he fires a shot from a gun that doesn't look like it's going to hit, it will always hit the target, but if he shoots directly at a target, it never will hit. And that is apparently a power he's copying from somebody else.
Oh.
He's introduced as unbelievable, but really he's unfair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unbelievable is the power to ricochet bullets off of. Basically, he can only get ricochet shots. He can't ever shoot someone straight on. But if he does these trick shots where he points away from whatever his target, it'll always hit the target, which is it's weird, but like that's how it works, or at least that's how he presents it. But again, like I said, I think that is his imitation of somebody's powers because he doesn't want people to know. Unfair is his power to imitate the powers of anyone who's his enemy.
I do like how we get everyone's backstories at some point, which is necessary because Fuko needs everybody's backstories because her powers work on if she cares about them or not.
Oh, yeah.
And when we get to her fighting the seasons, it comes into play with her fight with Spring.
Let's see. Billy steals the round table, which they need in order to fulfill the quest. He also tries to steal Apocalypse, the book. The book that's just a little guy.
The toothy book.
Yeah, but they luckily steal him back, so like they're kind of at a draw for who can fulfill the quest. And then when Andy stole the round table, they had just had another set of quests given out, and all these quests were to destroy Umas that represented like the different seasons, so summer, spring, fall, and winter. And so that is the next arc that they have to do, is that they have to get the table back, and so that they can, be at the round table when the correct date shows up, to be able to like get the rewards or the damages.
There's a lot of nouns.
Yeah, to get the stuff. They want it. They need to get the stuff. Okay.
They got to get the MacGuffins.
Yeah. So it starts off with, let's see, Andy and Fuko, they go and, before this, how did you say her name, Jordan? Julius? Jules?
I think so. Do not quote me. My French is not very good.
It's been a couple years since I saw the anime.
You can call her Juice.
Juice.
I'm gonna call her Unjustice. So Unjustice brings up the fact that like there is this book that seems to be an artifact because it has been predicting events throughout the years accurately. Like it's in a story format, but like it's very accurate. And it happens to be the manga that Fuko was reading when she was about to kill herself at the beginning of the series. I think it's From Me to You. And it is a shoujo sci-fi manga. And so like there's a point where aliens come down and like the soccer team has to beat up the aliens in order to send them back to where they came from. And so like it's accurately predicting things. And so Unjustice is like, hey, we're going to take care of these Umas. I need you to go find out more about this manga series. Find out if it's like really an artifact, if it's really predicting things. So in a side quest, Fuko is now charged with creating her own manga so that she can then enter it into a competition with the manga company that also houses From Me to You. And so Fuko actually writes Undead Unluck and turns it into the manga company. And the editor there is like, this is really interesting. We'll add it to our competition. And Fuko's like, hey, while I'm here, I've heard you have the original manuscripts for my favorite manga. Do you mind if I go look at them? And so she goes down into like the repository and goes looking at them, and she kind of realizes that there's arcs missing because in the manga it's never it gets a little clustery towards the end. I guess clusterfuck is nobody's gonna know what clustery means. It becomes awkward in the end. And so Fuko's like, hey, do you think things were missing? And the girl's like, oh my god, yes, there were arcs missing. There's this one where their friend betrays them. And then there's this one where like basically the four horsemen of the apocalypse. I don't know.
It's the Kings of the Four Seasons. That's what it's called.
Thank you so much.
And it's the Kings of the Four Seasons. So as a result, it's like, oh, this is clearly those four UMAs based on the seasons.
Yes. And so the lady actually calls up the author and is like, hey, I have a girl here. She says, like, you're missing these chapters. Actually, I can't find them at all in here. I feel like somebody might have stolen them. And then she also, like, describes what the manga is that Fuko wrote. And the author is like, you know what? That actually sounds really interesting. Fuko is then like, oh my god, he's talking on the phone. So she pulls a gun up on this poor lady who's just trying to show her manga in the repository, takes the phone from her, then speaks to the author. I'm trying to find his name. Is it Akira Kuno? Yeah, it's Akira Kuno, but the alias is Ano Un. And he's like, hey, if you want to do this, if you want to meet me, then you have 5 hours to fly from Japan to Canada to meet me at this one park, and that's where I'll talk to you. So, magically, because it's anime, they have a plane that can fly them from Japan to Canada within 5 hours. So they make it in time. And while Andy and Fuko are talking crap about this author, they're like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump them. We're going to figure out what's going on. Akira Kuno is just walking up behind them, casually reading Fuko's manga without them noticing, and scares the crap out of them. And so he's like, hey, he's very eccentric. He's like, I know everything that has happened previously. I know everything that's going to happen. I know what we need to go do. And he takes Andy and Fuko to Autumn, who's one of the Umas that have appeared. And he's like, hey, you can't fight this thing now because it's going to kill you because you are not, you haven't gone through your training arc. And of course, Andy and Fuko are like, no, we're gonna kill it. And the Autumn's power is that whenever he scratches or cuts somebody, that limb or area of their body turns into books. So unbeknownst to Andy and Fuko, I keep forgetting his name, Akira cuts off one of the arms because Autumn kind of looks like a spider, which now that I say it out loud makes sense because it's kind of spooky like Halloween. Cuts off one of the arms of the spider-looking thing, brings it back with him, and is like, hey, now we're going to do our training. I'm going to cut Andy, turn him into books, and then Fuko, I'm going to let you jump into Andy's soul and learn all that's happened to him. It's a very weird arc to describe. And so
she's going into his memories, and so
yeah.
She becomes a little what if scenario in his memories of knowing him through his whole existence, which if you're going to have these two get shipped together, that is actually probably something I would consider charming in a relationship.
The cutest way ever to do it.
Yes, because now because at this point she is endeared to Andy. So she's like, hey, Andy, at this date, at this time, you got to go to this station. You got to stop me from killing myself. And all this stuff. And she's telling it to him in the 1800s. It's very, actually, it's the 1800s in cowboy times. It's very Back to the Future 3. I guarantee you, considering there are the references to other pieces of media, I'm willing to bet that's why it's cowboy times. It's because they can make a Back to the Future reference.
See, I was going with it was kind of in Howl's Moving Castle when Sophie's like, go find me in the future.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting from it, but no, Back to the Future makes more sense.
It's the cowboy thing that stands out to me.
Well, it could be both, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think it is. Especially because there's another one. There's another one that gets name dropped, actually, in the plot of the comic, where they name drop Life is Strange, which is a video game about time travel. It's a video game about someone who has time travel and is trying to go back and fix things that went wrong. So, yeah, there's several things. I think it's all of these things going on. It's just, I caught the Back to the Future because of the cowboys.
But again, the cutest thing ever happens where Cowboy Andy has gotten to know Fuko and Fuko's gotten to know Cowboy Andy, and they're about to kiss and Fuko's like, no, I love your other self. I don't know you well enough. This would be wrong. And that's when she's like, hey, on August 1st in 2020, I'm going to go try to kill myself on this train platform. You need to stop me. And by the way, I'm going to run away from you and you're going to need to chase me down. And eventually we will kiss. And that's how she proposes this idea. And he's like, yeah, bet.
She also, when she straight up says she loves Andy.
Yeah,
she
super
fully
cute.
admits it.
It's adorable. I love it so much. And then she's like, okay, so the tattoo on your chest, he explains that that's his earliest memory. It's 1863, I believe. And he says, I was in DC, and that's the earliest thing I can remember. And so Fuko's like, cool, I'm gonna go back there and kind of like see what happened to precipitate this event. And she goes back, and then all of a sudden Victor is there, and he's like, nope, you are not going snooping in my memories. And he's like, and by the way, you are a hindrance, so I'm just gonna straight up kill you. So he keeps killing her in the memories, but because she's just like a soul floating about in his memories, she doesn't actually die, but he's trying to kill her enough so that when they get to the end of his book, like they get to modern days, then she'll die. And he's like, then I'll be done with you. Andy'll crash out, and then I can take back over. And so at some point, Ano, he realizes that this is the last prediction in the future he knows about, like this upcoming moment. And the way he's seen it is that Fuko, while her soul is in Andy's book, he realizes that like this other negator called Unseen, who's basically an invisible man, comes up while he's distracted with the undergroup and kills Fuko, which causes the end of the world. So he's like, well, I need to stop this. So he's able to wake Andy up just in the nick of time. Andy like slices the room in half with his blood blade and kills Unseen. Also, Akira is now armless in this point. He's lost both
Which
arms.
is really hard for manga.
Yeah, he's got his like special pen in his teeth though, so you know he's doing the thing.
How he is not bled out. It's manga.
I don't know. How is Victor talking in space? I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, how is he not bled out? Whatever. I guess so. A battle ensues with the under people, and now Andy has like these not memories, but like he's learned a lot because Fuko gave him the inspiration to like live life better and to better himself. And so he comes out of this as like a better fighter. So that was like his training arc. So he ends up fighting Unrepair and everybody. And then while they're out fighting, they accidentally run into Autumn again. Autumn has now gone through like his final form. And he's now like a giant spider. He's got little spiders. He's kicking ass. And Anna realizes that like, hey, they're not going to be able to fight this thing with the way that Rip is currently, because Rip's in like a little kid's body. He looks like he's like 6 to 8, and he's just not strong enough to fight Autumn. And so Ano, armless by the way, is able to just draw artifacts in just create them out of nothing via drawing them. And he creates this artifact that allows him to transfer, like to age up somebody, but the backlash from it is that it'll take 10 times the amount of life from the person who has given life to somebody. So he ages Rip up 15 years. That way, you know, he's a big kid now and he can fight Autumn, but it causes him to age 150 years. And so you have this like cute well, it's not cute. It's kind of sad actually. You have this flashback about Akira's life where, you know, he found this pen on the ground, and when he picked the pen up, it turned out it was an artifact, and it like instantly turned him into a negator. And this was like when he was 5 or 6, and nobody could see him anymore. So he was just like a ghost walking around, but he loved making mangas and reading mangas with his mom. And so he decided to write the best manga he possibly could for his mom, with the goal of trying to show her one day. And he eventually, like I said, he can make artifacts become real life. And so he actually made Ano, who is a personification of him, who is an artifact that is able to walk around and do things. So the Ano that got destroyed was not the actual body, it was actually the artifact. Akira is still alive. He's just a ghost, just hanging about and can't do anything. So there's this cute thing where, like, Andy, knowing this, that Akira is alive out there somewhere in his ghost-like form, like gives him a fist bump when they defeat Autumn, and that is also cute.
This will be part 1 of our 2-part series about Undead Unluck. So thank you for joining us on Bite Me Fanboy, a comics podcast. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your fellow comic fans. Also, please consider supporting us via Patreon, where you can listen to episodes before they go live and unlock special bonus content. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Tune in next time to Undead Unluck.
You should keep that in.